Hello everyone, what's up? Tonight I bring you an interview with Matt, Seb and Will from the Maker's Cult, a team creating amazing 3D printable miniatures which I think any Heresy enthusiast should check out. Hello there and welcome to the Race for Terra. I'm very pleased to welcome you tonight onto our little show. Guys, thank you for coming.
Good to be here. Thank you for having us.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. So, to begin with, I would love for you to introduce yourselves a little bit. Tell us a bit more about yourselves and also about yourselves in terms of the hobby. Are you wargamers yourselves? Do you paint miniatures?
I'm Aaron. I've been doing this for about 15 years now, on and off. Started in just by miniature making and painting, but got really into custom stuff and green stuff sculpting before I discovered 3D printing. And then after that, it was just kind of a logical progression to, designing my own bits.
Very nice. William?
So I've been doing the hobby since I was about 10, just Games Workshop miniatures. And then I stopped the hobby for a while, went to university, got into 3D modeling. And then I guess after university, I had a lot of free time, and then I decided to get back into Warhammer. And then I discovered people, it was on Reddit, I think, someone posting a 3D model of a miniature, and I thought, oh, I could do that. So I decided to have a go myself, and then I found a community, and then they motivated me to keep going, and now I'm here.
Did you know each other?
We all met through Discord 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
This last year has been such a blur, but somewhere around there, yeah. We all hang out on the 3D modeling sort of general Discord forum for, primarily 40K and 30K, but there's also a bunch of other war games covered there.
It's kind of crazy to think it's been 4 years. It feels like 1 or 2.
Very interesting. You've kind of preempted one of my next questions, but anyhow, Seb?
Oh, whoopsie.
So I discovered 3D printing when I got my first 3D printer about 6 years ago. And I used to be an engineer. So I got passionate about these machines and what we could make with it. So when I first printed my first miniature with my crappy Prusa printer, I got hooked because it was crazy. So, well, here we are now.
So the birth of the Maker's Cult as a team or a company, did that coincide in time with the launch of your Patreon, or did it predate that?
Yep, that was, we got together and decided, hey, so we all really enjoy this. It's a fun thing. We could probably get some money for resin by doing this as a group. And honestly, at the beginning, it was just that, a way to fuel our hobby.
It was never meant to be a business. It was meant to be literally just hobby money.
We had our day jobs and we were making Maker's Cult as a supplement to get some hobby money.
In this statement that you have on your Patreon, you say that you produce basically gothic science fiction miniatures. What prompted you to specialize in this genre and not something else?
Well, just that we felt it could be developed a lot more than it already was. It was something, sort of a style we enjoyed sculpting in. And we've all done different things in, Wasteland or fantasy, War Machine type styles before. Mm-hmm. But specifically this one, we felt we could bring a new angle to the existing design aesthetic just based off of historical pieces, armor, castles, buildings, that sort of thing. And that's what prompted the original development into the feudal guard line.
Which I think is really awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
It seems to me that most of your followers are probably playing either Warhammer 40K or maybe Horus Heresy, like I am. Do you plan on covering other war games maybe in the future?
Well, we usually do general model releases, and we ask for, what different types of weapons do you guys want to see to cover different roles. We have a significant following that use this to play Conflict. I think it's 45, which is a bolt action expansion, and then One-page rules, grimdark, future, and fantasy wars are other big sort of hobby groups. One-page rules is a group that sort of does alternative wargaming and miniature agnostic games. And they do a lot of really cool stuff with alternating activation, command point type stuff. Definitely worth looking into.
Interesting. What about other kinds of models? Will you do in future stuff like busts or scale models, which isn't necessarily meant to play with, but just to paint?
Yeah. So I personally run another project which we use as a testing ground for our file distribution thing, and that's basically 50 more 4mm scale models for fantasy gaming. And then Will's quite familiar with doing busts for his Thingiverse. We each have our own sort of separate creator pages, and on those we explore a much wider range of models. But for the actual Patreon, we put up polls on what people would like to see, and people vote, and the people usually want to see squads and tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sums it up.
Sounds good to me. I'm not complaining. I recently did a survey with my own Discord community. While the vast majority of people were like super positive about 3D printing and what the future has in store for us gamers, some folks, bear in mind that it's primarily a Horus Heresy community, they were concerned about the possible detrimental effect which 3D printing might have on basically Forge World as a company. Do you yourselves consider Maker's Cult a threat for a company like Forge World? What's your
Oh no.
What's your take on that?
No, I am firmly in the category that it is a tool, and it's a tool that people will learn to use and understand. Its biggest advantage, I think, for existing wargame groups is the implementation of, more bits to bash together. As far as Forge World goes, they've got absolutely nothing to worry about from 3D printers. Forge World will always have a very dedicated fan group that, if you want a Forge World sculpt, you want a Forge World sculpt, and nobody does it like they do. As to it having a detriment in general, we have seen in the last couple decades, recasters come and go, and that I think would be a greater threat to them. But Forge World is still there. People have gotten together to specifically target them with these. Now, I'm not a fan of recasting groups.
If anything, I think we're more of a threat to the recasters.
Interesting point.
We're helping Games Workshop here, I think.
Let me kind of ask you the same question, but flipped. Do you think that it's likely that companies like Forge World will actually end up imitating you guys and teams like you, where what you provide is not a physical product, but the design itself?
Well, it's actually something that is actively happening, not with Forge World or Games Workshop itself, but creators like Titan Forge and Anvil Digital started out as physical production studios and are now, well into the 3D printer market. But I don't really see that as a problem because it is a massively expanding hobby. As printers get cheaper and higher quality and more available, it's not like anybody is crowding anyone out or really even competing because the market itself is exploding so fast.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't mean that it's a problem. In fact, I think, on the contrary, I think it would be a benefit to the consumer.
Oh, I think it's really cool. Like Anvil has made a significant portion of their previous library available for download, and they have some really cool bits.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. I don't know if you guys know, but I just published a review on one of their model ranges, Gothic Void Troopers, and I'd like to review some of your ranges as well.
Sounds good.
We've got quite the collection.
How do you think 3D printing might evolve? And in particular, I'm interested in resin 3D printing. Do you see any big changes coming?
Right now, printer companies are kind of in a race to the bottom just to send out the most available, easiest to use product. Once that's done, in the last 2 years, we've moved from, $500 machines to $150 machines.
Right.
Once that's done, I think we'll see higher definition screens and then different systems used for the resin lift. What I'd like to see in the future is a resin cartridge system that makes it, cleaner, not as easy to spill. But I think we're a ways off of that because first it's going to be price, then quality.
Something recently that happened is, do you know Hero Forge?
Yes.
Yeah, they you can make miniatures and then you can have them printed out for you. But they now allow you to add color to the prints. That could be a direction for the future that could become
Oh, wow.
pretty serious, I think. No more painting. Although painting I do enjoy.
Oh yeah, especially if I know some people who don't enjoy the painting aspect of the hobby,
Yeah.
but if they are able to team up with a service like ImpCat that can digitally color 3D models, that would be very interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I could see it as a big game changer, literally almost.
Mhm.
What would you say to someone who was interested in the design aspect of 3D printing and wanted to follow in your footsteps? What would be your advice to them?
Join our Discord. Yeah, we're happy to give out advice, and sometimes I do little streams as well occasionally, just to give people tips, how-tos.
Well, I'd start out just taking a look at what modeling programs are freely available. And there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of really great ones. And what everybody uses is more down to personal choice than strength of the program. Blender, ZBrush Core, 3ds Max. Just take a look at what there is. Take a look at what kind of workflow you enjoy, and then there is an incredible library of free tutorials existing on YouTube for every kind of program you can imagine.
It's
Like
really-
I started out learning to 3D model, also working in research and development as an engineer, just on CAD programs.
Mhm.
But through primarily YouTube, taught myself some more advanced 3D making softwares like Blender and ZBrush.
It's the same with me at university. I was taught how to use CAD, but ZBrush, I'm entirely YouTube taught.
One of the things that surprised me the most about your Patreon is the idea of the guest makers. How did you come by this idea, and how has the experience been so far of collaborating with different people?
Well, when we started out, there weren't many doing what we were doing. I think us, Duncan Shadow, who's another fantastic maker in the sci-fi sphere, and a few others. But there were some smaller groups that were just starting out, and we really wanted to be able to showcase that, especially in our community.
There's more than just us. We just wanted to give others a leg up.
Yeah. So we came up with this idea and reached out to a couple of different makers, say, hey, we'd like to rent your models for a month and you can advertise on our spot. And here's this, and this. What do you think? And that sort of, once a lot of people responded to it fairly quickly, actually. So instead of being a couple one-off type things, we ended up making it a regular every month slot. And I think that's worked out really well. It gives the people that follow us a nice variety in the models that they get. So it's not just my line, Will's line, Seb's line, but also something new and interesting from completely out of left field every month. We've met some really, really interesting people doing it.
One of the latest ones has been That Evil One, right?
Yep. And he is using it as a launching platform for a Kickstarter he's running for Lunar Auxilia, which are quite lovely, in my opinion. That's running at the moment on Kickstarter, and definitely something worth taking a look at.
I totally agree. I just became a backer yesterday, and I don't even have a 3D printer yet.
Well, one of the advantages with 3D printing is the files keep. They can sit there as long as you want until they're needed.
Yeah, that was my line of thinking. Just to conclude, guys, I know that your Patreon is doing extremely well, and I'm happy that is the case. I think you guys have gone full time, haven't you, with this?
Yep.
Yes.
In the last
Yep.
6 months or so, we've all transferred over to full time. It has truly been a blessing.
That's brilliant. But what are your goals for the future? Let's say, first of all, for 2021 and also beyond.
Well, once everybody can go outside without masks again, we'd really like to be able to put together the capital to rent a little space, set up some printers, and produce some models of our own.
A physical production shop. Yeah, that'd be great.
Nice. Beyond that,
Oh, just keep enjoying doing what we're doing. Honestly, I mean, I really enjoyed my last job. It was fun. It was challenging, but I get to design toy soldiers for a living, and that makes me so happy.
very good. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure to have you on the Race for Terra.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you. Thank you for having us.
In coming weeks, I'll be reviewing some of the models from the Maker's Cult, so stay tuned. And most importantly, a massive thank you to all my Patreon supporters who help me keep making content. Let me know what you think in the comments feed below. Thank you all, and remember, keep it up and weather it out.